Hello everyone, my name is Claudette Chenette and I'll be discussing the emerging technologies in the MMORPG community. So, technology grows and changes the world at a nearly exponential rate, which is an idea that stuck with me while watching one of my favorite shows, Pantheon. It's an animated TV show about the development of uploaded intelligence, turning human minds into literal supercomputers. A VR MMORPG in the show plays a major role in the story and is used for characters to connect with one another and share ideas, information, and strategies, making the game their own makerspace. Most people play MMORPGs on computers or gaming consoles. VR MMORPGs are a relatively new niche, however, and is something I've personally dreamed about experiencing when I was simply a 15-year-old watching Sundar online after school, an anime about a fictional VR MMORPG that the players are stuck in called Sundar Online. The only way out is if they die in the game, which unfortunately means that they die in real life. However, that part about being stuck in the game and the dying part wasn't quite appealing to me back then. So, something that's related but a bit more grounded in reality is a game called Zenith Nexus, a VR MMORPG, just like the ones I watched in Pantheon and Sundar Online. In Zenith, very similarly to traditional MMORPGs, players are able to develop a character, play through quests, connect with other players, etc. However, Zenith offers another layer of interactivity, VR. This creates a whole new array of appeal for the community. For example, avatars serve as a digital self-representation for players. Coolness theory by Sundar et al. Proposes that attractiveness, originality, uniqueness, and subculture appeal are the main drivers as to why people perceive a device as cool. This can be applied to other concepts as well, such as products, services, ideas, etc. This means it can also be applied to players as avatars. Being able to customize one's digital self with flashy gear and skills to achieve coolness, or cuteness for some, serves as one of the main motivators as to why people are attracted to playing certain MMORPGs and continue to play them. VR brings a whole new level of immersion, allowing players to actually become their character or avatar, adding to the coolness factor of the game. And also, as an added bonus, players are not just sitting in one position as they play the games. VR requires players to move their arms and heads at the very least while they play. However, this technology is limited to those who can afford a VR headset, with prices ranging from $300 upwards to nearly $8,000, and that is just considering the basic headset and controllers. VR setups can skyrocket once one adds more equipment, such as more trackers, haptic suits, and VR treadmills. Something I do want to note is how there seems to be a recent gap in the market for VR MMORPGs. Zenith was very popular during its initial release in January of 2022. However, players found that they hit a wall after playing for a few weeks. Content dried up, and players were left with nothing to do besides repeating the same quests and activities over and over again. After a year, the game still lacked new content, and the game shifted into a free-to-play model, further putting off their player base. Then, in July of 2024, the Zenith team officially announced that they were ceasing further development for the game, essentially putting in the final nail in the coffin. As of right now, there is the alternative Elysia, but the reviews on the online gaming marketplace Steam show that there is a lot left to be desired from the game. Other VR MMORPGs such as Orbis VR, Reborn, have also shut down alongside Zenith, but there is a notable one in development called Ancient Quest, which may hopefully begin to fill this gap in the MMORPG market. Moving on, smartphones are actually starting to become powerful enough to handle playing MMORPGs. As they become progressively more capable, they have allowed for games such as Black Desert Online, Albion Online, and old school RuneScape to be played on them. This increases the accessibility of MMORPGs, as people are more likely to have smartphones than high-end gaming PCs or expensive game consoles. Smartphones reach a wider audience and allow for play virtually anywhere that has internet access. Another interesting technology in the community is VTubing and VStreaming, which stands for Virtual YouTubing and Virtual Live Streaming. Some may be familiar with video game live streaming on platforms such as Twitch, with traditionally popular MMORPG streamers such as Scythian and Michelle R, who use normal webcams during their streams. But VTubing and VStreaming in general has skyrocketed in popularity in recent years. VTubers are YouTubers or live streamers who use virtual avatars instead of a traditional webcam. They often create personas and have unique designs in order to create an appeal for their audience and content. Some VTubers of interest are Haruhi-Satu, who often streams Final Fantasy Online, and NG Heart, who streams Final Fantasy Online alongside Black Desert Online. Something that I'd like to highlight, though, is that when browsing for examples, I found a Reddit thread about exporting Final Fantasy Online avatars into the 3D modeling programs Unity and Blender to make them into VTubing avatars. For those interested, I'll link the thread below in the description. The emerging technologies within the MMORPG community fall in line with the three main concepts of Eliza Dressing's radical change theory: interactivity, connectivity, and access. VR aligns with interactivity, a technology that creates a unique, new way for players to interact with one another while playing the game. Smartphones align with access, creating opportunities for more people to play MMORPGs, those who may not have had otherwise due to lack of a gaming computer or console, and also making it so that players aren't solely limited to playing MMORPGs at home. And finally, the communication technology the community uses aligns with connectivity. The social media platforms they use allow them to connect with each other on platforms such as Discord, which is a communication platform specifically designed with gamers in mind, on gaming forums, and in the live streams they tune in to watch, alongside TikTokers or YouTubers, which allows them to connect with each other in live stream chat rooms and video comment sections. They also form a connection with the content creator they're watching, who is also another player who shares just as much enjoyment for the games as they do. With VR equipment and smartphones constantly evolving, more social media platforms like Discord being created specifically for gamers, and more people streaming and making content more than ever, the future of emerging technologies for the MMORPG community is a bright one.